Most men suppress emotions in repeat cycles they don't even see. But what if mastering your emotions could make you unshakable, stronger, more decisive, and more in control? Stick with me, and I'll show you how to break free and lead your life like never before.
We're going live.
We'll do it live.
This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host, Paul Bauer.
Thank God it's Friday. Am I right, fellas? The new year not starting out well. My professional podcasting dog right here had a major diabetic incident yesterday. Had to take her to the ER. She's doing better now, but she gave me quite the scare yesterday. So I have to take her back for a follow-up appointment right after the stream. But that's not what we're talking about. We are talking about emotions today. If you are new to the channel, my name is Paul Bauer, and I help men level up and get better with women. And the funny thing about that is that when we do that, we tend to get better in all areas of our lives. Today is Frame Friday, and we are going through AJ's book on psychology, emotion. We're up to chapter 3, which is on building emotional awareness. Now, if you're not familiar with this book or the Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence series, let me tell you about that. My good friend, RP Thor, wrote a book called A Dominant Masculine Presence a couple of years ago. And Thor wanted to write a bunch of other follow-up books for that. But, situations happened, and he ended up finding himself with stage 4 brain cancer, and he has to fight that battle. So what he ended up doing was genius, in my opinion, is he reached out to his buddies. He reached out to his friends in the red pill space and said, hey guys, I have this idea. I want to write an encyclopedia of books in the Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence series. And because all you guys have your own stories, you guys have your own input on some of these concepts, I want to ask you guys to write these books on my behalf. So they're all based on the 7 P's of a dominant masculine presence from the first book. And then I wrote the first book, which was Psychology Paradigm. And then AJ, he's written the third book, Psychology Emotion. So that's what we're talking about. We're going through AJ's book, and we're up to chapter 3 now. The second book in the series, I already went through all that with you guys. If you guys have been following along, that's Wraith's book on power frame identity, which is this one. Wraith just came out with another book that I just bought, and they're all small. Like Wraith's books are real small, but he wrote one on positive self-talk, which is huge. So many guys have negative self-talk, and it just keeps them in a state of not moving forward, and so it's great that Wraith wrote that book. But we're going to go over AJ's book today, and we're on chapter 3, which is all about awareness, right? Being aware of your own emotions. A lot of people, they're not aware of their own emotions. They, in the moment, their emotions are controlling them. They're not controlling their emotions, right? And that's because they're not aware of it. They're not aware of how it drives them through life. We're going to get into that today. But first, guys, do be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Every Friday is Frame Friday, which is all about your mindset. And then if you guys are watching live right now, do sound off in the chat. I like hearing from you guys. It's kind of a low turnout today, which is unfortunate. Guys, share this video. Hit that like button, okay? Let's get this out to more people. The thing is that frame and your mindset are so important. And once you can get a good handle on that, everything else falls into place. But they're the least popular episodes because nobody wants to work on their mindset. They all want to learn, like they tune in to the episodes on how do I get more of the poon? It's like, yeah, that's great, man. But the thing is, if you get your mind right, you're going to get more poon. No one wants to do the work, though. No one wants to do the work. Guys, consider sending a super chat. If you guys are enjoying this content, if you guys are getting value out of it, do consider supporting the show by sending a super chat or two. All right, let's just get right into it today. And guys, if you didn't know, my new book dropped today. Get Her, I can't say it not until the 8-minute mark. Get Her to F You Again, a red pill guide to fix a dead bedroom. You can get that at books.comeonmanpod.com. That'll redirect you to my Amazon authors page. You can't search for it on Amazon because the title is too hot. Okay. It's too edgy for the Amazon algorithm. So I have to put it up here and you guys have to find it through my authors page. Because we can't be adults on the internet. Okay. We might offend somebody. All right. So the first concept in AJ's book, and I'm just going through the concepts. I'm not reading the book to you. I want you guys to go out and get these books. All right. So get AJ's book. It's only available in paperback, hardcover, and Kindle. I believe Thor is working on the audio version of it. Right now, my book is the only one that has an audio version. Oh, and speaking of audio versions, I just submitted the audio version of Get Her to F You Again last night. So it takes 10 days to get that approved, 10 business days to get that approved from ACX. So about mid-month, you should be able to get that on audio. All right. So the first concept in AJ's book is self-awareness as the foundation of emotional strength, right? So self-awareness is the cornerstone of emotional durability, akin to the foundation of a skyscraper. So basically what AJ says in the book is that without a solid foundation, a skyscraper would fall, right? That, or if planes hit the building, it gets hot enough to melt steel beams. And then, okay, we're going off on a tangent here. So without a good foundation, the skyscraper is going to collapse, right? So having self-awareness of your emotions, it's the foundation of the emotional durability, because you have to be aware of it in order to have any kind of control over it, right? Without self-awareness, men navigate life reactively rather. Men navigate life reactively rather than proactively. And so he says it's akin to, it's like steering a ship without directions. Actually, AJ makes a Submariner reference because he used to be a nuke and he used to work on submarines. So he says it's like steering a ship 400 feet below the surface of the ocean with no windows, right? AJ, that's what sonar's for, sir. Good Lord. But yeah, think about that for a minute. Right? Steering a submarine with no windows, 400 feet below the water. Like, how do you know what's going on around you? How do you know you're not going to hit anything? Like, you got charts, right? You got, you can, measure your depth, where you're at in the water. Otherwise, it's just a whole lot of navigating and using charts and sonar. That's gotta be crazy, man. But yeah, a lot of guys, they're not aware of their thoughts. They're not aware of their emotions, and life tends to just happen to them, right? And so they're just walking around reacting to various things. They're putting out fires as they go along instead of cognitively thinking things through and having awareness of their thoughts and their emotions. And I've talked about it in lots of different episodes, but your thoughts create your actions create reactions, those reactions create your results in life, right? So if you're not getting the results you want, you're just sort of letting life happen to you. You've got to fix what's up here. you gotta be more aware of the type of thoughts that you're having, right? So self-awareness enables understanding of one's reactions, motivations, and desires, which fortifies leadership and stability, right? That makes sense, right? Oh man, we got some super chats in here already. Thank God for the Beer Club brothers. We'll get to those in a minute. The next concept is the importance of emotional durability. Now AJ and I talked about this when we went through chapter 1, right? The difference between emotional durability and emotional resilience. So what AJ talks about is that resilience is like having a ball being bounced off you all the time. Like you take it, it sucks, but you still take it. But being durable is you've taken those hits so many times that it doesn't even bother you anymore. That's the difference. So the importance of emotional durability. So emotional durability is achieved through recognizing and managing emotions effectively, right? Not suppressing emotions. We're going to get into that in a little bit. Not suppressing emotions, but being able to effectively manage them. Like, as like you're getting pissed off and you're getting angry and you want to blast someone, you take a couple of minutes, you take some deep breaths. There's different ways of like coping through that and managing that. And you don't express that angry emotion, right? Because anger is bad. Okay. It's so funny is basically society tells us that we're supposed to express our emotions the way women do it. Like the way women do it is okay, but the way men express emotions, that's toxic, right? Have you ever thought about that? So women, when they're having a lot of stress, they default to sadness, right? They like to cry a lot. Men, when we're under a lot of stress, we default to anger. We yell a lot. We're like, fuck off, right? And we're past the 8-minute mark. We're like, fuck off. Like for instance, was it yesterday? No, it was the night, day before yesterday. So the night before, Nurse Chick and I we're dealing with my dog here and her diabetes and how she's not feeling good and stuff like that. And Nurse Chick's dog, all of a sudden, he knows that something's off. Something's not right with my podcaster here. And so he starts getting really needy and stuff like that. And I'm sitting there trying to figure out how to best manage what's going on with my dog. And her dog comes up to me and I'm just like, I'm taken by his face. I go, fuck off. Like that's how men sort of instinctually act, right? We sort of have this natural default to anger. I wasn't really angry at him, but it was like, fuck off, dog. I'm not dealing with your shit right now. But society tells us that that's bad, right? We can't deal with our emotions that way. So like, how do you handle that? Well, there's better ways of handling that. I don't think I handled that well. That poor dog, he didn't get hurt or anything, but still. I thought about that right after I did. I go, fuck, I probably should have done that. Poor dog. He's just an artard. Anyway. So emotional durability is achieved through recognizing and managing emotions effectively. And awareness allows for informed responses rather than blind reactions. So I had that blind reaction with her dog Spoon. In hindsight, I'm like, oh, damn it. I probably shouldn't have done that. But you know what? Recognizing that, at least after the fact, I'm better able to have more awareness of that in the future. So when he's acting like an artard, I don't do that going forward, right? I have more awareness of it. And then mastering emotions solidifies. Guys, I'm not perfect, okay? I have a fucking podcast here. I've written a couple books, but I'm not perfect, all right? Anyways, mastering emotions solidifies a masculine presence by aligning strength, stability, and decisiveness. All right, let's get to these super chats and so what everybody else has in here. So Kamal says, "New year, new beard." Eh? Yes. Oh, you missed that. Yeah, on Monday. So after Monday's episode, which was the last episode of the year, I said I'm getting rid of the long beard. I didn't like it. I grew it all last year. It was more of a challenge to myself than anything. I had the legendary George Bruno on the podcast, and he has an epic beard. And I was like, I've never really grown my beard out very long. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to make that a challenge for myself. So I did. I grew out to about, I don't know, came down to about down here, and it was just a pain in my butt. So I kept telling Nurse Chick, I'm like, I hate this thing, but I'm going to make it until the end of the year. And so sometime after Monday's episode, I went out for my run. I went and did my workouts, and then I showered, and then I made a video where I had a before and after. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm going back to the shorts. Much easier to deal with. CW says, "Morning, gents and Nurse Chick. Time to stiffen our frames." Yeah, I see what you did there. That's dirty. Kamal says, "Good morning, CW. Did you say stiff?" And now you guys are getting GHEY in the comments. He goes, "But better mindsets will make getting poon easier and better." Yes, I agree. Let's see here. We've got several super chats. So let's do it like this. Let's do Kamal sent a 249 euros. He goes, "I'm here for those slow viewership days." And I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And because you're a Beer Club brother, I'm going to bump you up to the $10 super chat video, which is going to get me demonetized.
Thank you for the super chats. Movies bouncing, can't stop that. From the east to the west, you are the best. Keep those chats coming in, let's do it all again.
Yes, thank you for that. Then we'll jump over to brother Ed. He sent a $10 super chat. He goes, "Frame is everything." Thank you, Paul. Yes. And you can thank Rollo Tomasi for the for the verbiage of frame is everything. That's Iron Rule of Tomasi #1. And because you're a beer club brother, I'm going to bump you up to the $20 super chat, which is also going to get me demonetized.
Super chat will see you there. Shake it, dance without a care. Send it love from everywhere. Groovy beats we all can share. Your support is so divine. Moving closer to the line. Thank you, you're the best. Party on, we never rest.
Smash that like button for a bouncing bootay. Mr. Wrong says, I'm pissed off. Emotions are out of control. Big Daddy Siki for life. If you guys didn't know, the legendary wrestler Big Daddy Siki passed away. I didn't even know who he was until Mr. Wrong sent me a Telegram message saying, hey, this guy died. And I'm like, I don't even know who he is, but he looks cool as hell. He was like a black Ric Flair. He had blonde hair and he would walk out to the ring with 2 mirrors just checking himself out. Like, yeah. I was like, my man, dude. Hell yeah. CW said a $5 super chat. Great frame is a low center of gravity. Stand stronger and stiffer. Happy Friday, gents. Yes. Oh, I like that. Great frame is a lower center of gravity. Dude, that's profound, CW. Look at you, freaking philosopher over here. All right, I'm gonna give you the bouncing bubs.
Thank you for the super chats. Movies bouncing, can't stop that. From the east to the west, you are the best. Keep those chats coming in, let's do it all again.
Yep. Brother John's in the house. He says, good morning, gentlemen, and Nurse Chick. Stream Element says pre-ordered Get Her to F You Again on Kindle. You can actually order it now. I gotta update that. If you go to that link, it'll take you to Amazon, and you can order the paperback and the hardcovers now. And the Nurse Chick's in the house. She says, good morning, gentlemen. Nurse Chick gets this.
I'm so naughty.
She is.
I'm gonna come.
I will. And all right. Okay, guys, man, I'm goofing off. I'm just having a good time this morning. I got to take my dog to the vet. I'm hoping for some good news. I don't know, guys, I might have to pull the trigger and put her down. I don't like thinking about that, but you know, she doesn't really have good quality of life anymore. On a more positive note, you can follow me on social media. The links are in the description. Get on the email list.comeonmanpod.com. Get my free ebook, She's Made You Weak. It's all about the betatization process. And then if you guys want to go into depth on the betatization process and how to really turn that thing around, get out of a dead bedroom. The new book is out. Get Her to F You Again. Go to books.comeonmanpod.com. That'll take you to my Amazon authors page where you can get that book and then my other 2 books, Psychology Paradigm and Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18, both of which I refer to quite a bit in Get Her to F You Again. Let me play a commercial for the new book, and then we'll get back to the topic.
Are you tired of the dead bedroom? Wondering what happened to the passion, the connection, and the spark? Well, here's your answer. Introducing Get Her to Fuck You Again, a red pill guide to fix a dead bedroom, now on Amazon. This isn't about manipulation or tricks. It's about real strategies that work. If your wife has stopped being intimate with you, it's not because the love is gone. It's because the attraction is gone. And that's fixable. This book will teach you the skills to lead your marriage, rebuild your confidence, and become the man she can't stop thinking about. 3 reasons to get this book. 1. It breaks the cycle. You'll learn how to stop doing the same things that are killing her attraction and start doing the things that reignite it. 2. It's practical and proven. With clear, actionable steps, you'll build yourself into the man you were always meant to be. 3. It works for men like you. Paul Bauer has helped hundreds of men just like you fix their dead bedrooms. And now, it's your turn. Don't let another day go by feeling frustrated and disconnected. Go to Amazon right now and buy Get Her to Fuck You Again. Read it, apply it, and watch your marriage transform. The connection isn't gone forever. You just need the roadmap to get it back. and this book is it.
I had a coaching call this morning with one of my clients. We're almost halfway through the program, and it's fascinating. It's fascinating to listen to his progress, because he told me this morning, I guess he's been meticulously keeping track of this, but he was getting, starfish sort of obligatory segs on the regular with his wife. And I would say on the regular, like maybe once or twice a week. Right. It was, and it was very lackluster. And then, so now after we've been working together for over a month, that is doubled. And then he said there's a 30% uptick in her enthusiasm, which is funny, fascinating how he's tracked that. He sort of like tracks her enthusiasm by putting like a little X on his calendar. And so he can like, that's great, bro. That's great. The problem is that when guys start working on this stuff, right, they start seeing results, right? So get the book, you're going to start seeing results. The thing is, I've talked about this before. Ryan talks about it in his book. You're going to start seeing results, but a lot of it is, it's not true desire yet, right? It's not true desire yet. So a lot of guys, they start seeing better results and they stop doing the work, right? They think they've reached a finish line. There's no finish line. Okay. You got to do all this work and then keep doing it forever. All right. And then you're going to have those new results that you're getting are going to start turning into desire. They're going to start turning into validational sex, because what's going to happen is your wife's going to start seeing you as her best hypergamous option again. And she's going to seek that validation from you, and that validation is like, hey, I'm having sex with my best hypergamous option. Like, I feel validated that I've got this guy. Right. And that's because you're leveling up and being the best possible version of yourself. All right. Back to AJ's book though, guys. Enough self-promotion. Let's talk about AJ's book. Let's promote my man, AJ. The next concept is breaking the cycle of emotional suppression. So emotional suppression is often a generational pattern passed down through families, right? Like we talked about this last week, how a lot of us are told, like, don't cry. It's not okay for men to cry and all this kind of stuff. And that's true. It's socially not acceptable for men to sort of cry in public. Right. But what men tend to do is they sort of go from like this one extreme to the other extreme, which is like they bottle it up and they hold it in and they will not let it out no matter what. And it's like, that's not what we're saying in the space. What we tend to say is there's a time and a place for it. Right. There's a better place for that. Expressing your emotions at the gym, getting a good group of bros together, having a therapist, like all those are great outlets for this sort of thing. Okay. So you don't want to like bottle it up forever. You do have to express it somehow. It's got to come out somehow. Otherwise you're going to end up like, you're going to pack it all down deep and then it's going to explode out of you like a stick of dynamite. And then nothing good comes of that. Right. So you got to recognizing and challenging inherited emotional dysfunction is essential for personal growth. Like you got to realize what healthy emotional control is versus unhealthy suppression. You know what I mean? That's why, like in my book, in AJ's book, like we talk about different positive ways of handling this sort of thing. Even like journaling and like writing this stuff down in like a private journal, like expressing your emotions that way, getting it out into the ether is a much healthier way of dealing with that kind of stuff and not keeping it bottled up. Right. You got to break those cycles, and doing so involves creating healthier emotional habits and addressing deep-seated beliefs, right? Like the deep-seated belief that you're a lone wolf, that, you're a Sigma male, that, you don't have anybody to turn to and stuff like that. That's nonsense. That's nonsense. There's lots of options out there for you. I talk about Beer Club a lot. A lot of the guys in the chat right now are Beer Club brothers. Great place for that, that sort of thing. Beer Club's a good option for you. It's only $10 a month too. And really the only reason why we do that is to have a little bit of skin in the game. You got to have a little bit of skin in the game or else you won't value it. Right. But Thor's Dragon Ship is another option, or not Dragon Ship, but the Dragon's membership. That's another option. Let's see here. The Masculine Empowerment Network, MLD's thing is a good option for you guys. Let's see here. The Men of Now, which is HUD's program. Like all these things are great options for you. They're all very affordable. Or getting a therapist, right? Or a coach. Get a good coach. Well, I find myself with my clients, we spend a good portion of our time together. Like I have a challenges and exercises and a curriculum for my coaching clients, but a lot of the time too, I'm just a listening ear where they can get out their frustrations on what's going on, right? And they can process it, and I can help them sort of look at things from different points of view and stuff like that. It's very helpful. Very helpful. The role of emotional triggers. I'm triggered. Damn it. Are you guys triggered? Are you guys triggered by my book title? Like, I think that's going to trigger some people. Emotional triggers, right? Emotional triggers are personal and often linked to past experiences or unresolved issues. You know, there's certain things like we know what triggers us a lot of the times. You know what I mean? There's certain things that always bubble up. And a lot of times, one of the reasons why we tell guys in the space that being emotionally vulnerable, like with your girl, is a trap is because a lot of the times, if your wife, when she's being emotional herself and there's an argument that comes up, she tends to use your vulnerability against you, right? You're basically leaving yourself open to attack, and she knows what sets you off. She knows how to push your buttons. She knows what triggers you, right? When I was married, one of my biggest triggers was that I hated that my wife would call me a loser, right? She would say, "You're such an effing loser," right? I can't believe I married a loser. And she knew that specific word was going to push my buttons and set me off. She freaking knew it, you know, and she was right, because I had no emotional durability. I had no emotional control at the time, and I would lose my shit, right? And I'd be like, "What does that say about you?" You know, that you're the one that married, whatever. Anyway, you get the stupid deering conversation instead of like handling it with better tools like Agree and Amplify and and acted different, right? That was one of my emotional triggers, guys. I'm being vulnerable with you right now. Okay, now you guys are all going to call me losers on social media. Like, you bastards. All right. So recognizing triggers helps anticipate and manage emotional challenges, preventing impulsive reactions. So techniques, a good technique that AJ brings up here is the third-party observer, which is also a way of dissociation that we talk about in NLP, right? So what an amazing thing that we have, and I think AJ sort of learned this from The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. He always calls him Eckhart Tolle. How do you pronounce that guy's name? I always pronounced it Eckhart Tolle, but whatever. Doesn't matter. Eckhart Tolle this is where I learned it too. Eckhart Tolle in The Power of Now talks about how he was like sitting on a bench, and he had these unaliving thoughts, right? He wanted to unalive himself. He was so depressed that he had these thoughts to unalive himself. And then he caught himself almost like a third-party observer having this sort of conversation with his inner thoughts, his inner dialogue. He basically separated that and sort of just watched his inner dialogue happen. And that's where he realized, I have this inner power to be able to like step back from myself and evaluate my own thoughts and feelings. And he was like, why am I thinking about ending myself? Like, why am I thinking about unaliving myself? Right. Well, that ability to be able to step back and look at your thoughts and emotions almost like you're a separate being, it's a superpower we have, right? And then we call that the third-party observer effect. And in NLP, we say that allows you to dissociate from the actual feelings and the emotions in the moment. And what's cool about that is when you're mentally able to step back and look at your thoughts and feelings and your inner dialogue, it lessens the effect. Right? It lessens the effect. You could actually go one step further in dissociation with a visualization exercise, right? You can visualize a picture on the wall, right? And you can visualize being in that picture in the moment, having the thoughts and the emotions that trigger you, right? And like in that moment, you're feeling it. You're like, this sucks. I hate this. I don't like this. These these, negative feelings are bubbling up, and then you can imagine yourself stepping out of the picture, right? And then looking at the picture, and it's sort of evaluating what's happening in the moment. That's one way to dissociate. Another thing you can do is imagine that turning that picture black and white, changing the colors of that picture. That's another way to dissociate further. Then you can imagine yourself as another person on the other side of the room watching you watch the picture, right? And as you just take these steps back out of your own thought process, it lessens it. So if you're a person that's really having problems in the moment with a specific emotion, you can just close your eyes and visualize it in that way. Like picture it as you being in the picture in that moment, and then imagine stepping out of the picture, looking at the picture, and then imagine being another person on the other side of the room looking at you, looking at the picture. And that's going to calm you down in the moment, right? That's a cool NLP trick. But it also allows you to identify triggers and figure out how to better handle them in the moment too. So if that happens again, if someone calls you, Mr. Wrong calls me a pussy, I can handle that better in the moment, right? You son of a bitch. All right. If you guys don't know, Mr. Wrong is he's one of my like long-term 3% brothers. He goes back to the old original 3% man group. Guys, I mentioned before, get in beer club, beer.comeonmanpod.com. It's a good group of dudes. Almost everybody that's shouting off in the chat right now, they're all beer club brothers. And we have a good time in there. We've got it's probably going to be not next week, but the week after, we're probably going to do our beer club hangout. And then the week after that, Nurse Chick and I are going on a trip. We're going on a trip. Guys, if you're having a problem in your dead bedroom, book a free call with me. Go to call.fixdeadbedrooms.com. And I will help you through that situation. I'm very good at it. My new book is out. If you would feel more comfortable getting the book first, get the book. Go to books.comeonmanpod.com. Get the book, read through that, and then understand what the process is. And then if you need help with that, book that free call with me by going to call.fixdeadbedrooms.com. All right. So the third-party observer technique. So the way AJ describes it, he says the technique involves stepping outside of one's immediate emotional experience to observe it objectively. So I gave you one idea of how to do that. That's my method. It's not necessarily what he talks about in the book. But what it does is it creates a space. It creates a space between stimulus and reaction, which fosters thoughtful responses over impulsivul ones. Right. So it gives you a chance to think about it. Right. Think about it. Why am I so mad about this? Why is this triggering me so bad? Right. It aligns with the principles of presence and composure, which enhances leadership and decision-making. And that's true too, because a good leader won't allow himself to be totally controlled by his emotions, right? He's able to take a step back, take a breather, think about what's going on, and proceed strategically through a situation, and then be able to lead his team through whatever challenge it is, So being able to do that, being able to manage your emotions will make you more of an effective leader. The next concept he talks about is journaling and emotional tracking. So journaling provides a structured way to document emotions, identify patterns, and reflect on responses. Ryan Stone is really big on this, and he's got a new book out too. I like to plug my colleagues and my friends, okay? And I consider Ryan Stone a friend, that son of a bitch. Ryan's got a new book called Praxeology Volume 3, which is all field reports. And what is a field report? It's just a way of journaling, right? It's a way of identifying your situation. Ryan talks about it as a way of creating an OODA loop, right? Which is observe, orient, decide, act, which is a military pilot came up with that concept. But it allows you to actually identify patterns, reflect on how you respond in the moment. How could you do better, right? If you actually take the time and think about these types of things, it creates more awareness in your head. And then when these types of things happen again, you can react differently, right? You can respond instead of react. Digital tools and apps offer modern alternatives for tracking emotional states with visual insights. He recommends some apps in the book. Regular self-assessment helps maintain emotional awareness and refine coping strategies. If you don't take the time to think about how you're acting, how you're thinking, how you're responding emotionally, like all this kind of stuff, if you don't take a time to think about that stuff, you're never going to improve. You know, it all comes down to awareness. The next concept, it might be a short episode today. The next concept here is building a support network. So he recommends surrounding yourself with emotionally mature, like-minded individuals, because that fosters growth and accountability. I don't know how emotionally mature you guys are in Beer Club. Just mess with you guys. Well, you guys might be emotionally mature, but you guys aren't, mature like adults. You guys should see some of the memes these guys throw in there, or they throw some of the funniest, links to Instagram videos and stuff like that. It's like all day long. Some of the best content shows up in Beer Club. I'm like, you guys. I showed one to Nurse Chick the other day. I thought it was funny as hell. It was, and it might have been CW. Was that you, the one that dropped the video of the girl with the Mentos bottle? Let me know. It was either you or Dave, one of the Davids dropped that in there. But there was a video of this chick who did the Mentos in a Diet Coke bottle, and she stuck it on her mouth real quick, and she took it all, right, like a champ. She just took all that, and then the video cuts over to a dog with like a dirty face, like. I was like, Nurse Chick, check this out. She was like, "Yep, that's how you do it." Anyway, so surround yourself with emotionally mature, like-minded individuals. We're definitely like-minded individuals. Open conversations within this network. Open conversations within this network can help reinforce emotional resilience and new habits. You know what the guys are doing right now, which I think is wonderful, is one of the brothers in there has a fire got lit under his ass, and he decided, I'm going to hit the dating scene hard, right? And all of a sudden, just like out of nowhere. And I think what the catalyst for that was he had a little bit of a moment of weakness over the holidays where he reached out to an ex. Like, bad move, bad idea. By the way, I already have like the outline for my next book. And I'm going to try to launch that in this summer, but it's for guys that have gone through a breakup. It's called Forget That Bitch. That's what I'm going to call that book. Forget That Bitch. It's going to be book number 2 in my Red Pill Guide series. I'm going to make this a whole series. And I have some of that outline done. I sent it over to one of my 3% brothers to look it over, and he's like, "Dude, this shit is spot the fuck on." I'm like, yeah, I know. Anyway, one of the things is this guy at Beer Club did was he had a sort of a moment of emotional weakness and reached out to an ex, and then immediately realized it was a bad move, and so he's like, you know what? I got to get my mind off this chick and get under 10 other chicks, right? And so he just starts going hard. And now he's like on the dating apps. He's like dropping conversations in there. Guys are swapping notes like crazy about the dating circuit again. It's fucking phenomenal. I love it. Love watching it. Support networks provide encouragement and diverse perspectives on emotional challenges. That's true too, because a lot of times what's really good, I pointed out in Psychology Paradigm, is that a lot of times, like, we can't see the forest for the trees in our own minds, like what's happening in our head mentally, right? Like we have paradigms that are so ingrained in us that we just think that whatever it is that we're thinking is normal. Like that, that's normal, right? It's normal to feel this way. It's normal, whatever. If you bounce this off of the other guys in the group, you'll find that no, maybe there's a different perspective that I didn't think about. And so that's another good reason to have a support network. Hey, Phil's in the house. What's up? He says, Skull. Yes, Skull indeed. Guys, smashing like is alpha, okay? There's 41 people watching. Smash that like button. Oh, if you guys are watching on Facebook or X, come on over to YouTube and smash that like button over here on YouTube. Ask CW to see if he can get your book stocked at Tesco. What's Tesco? Oh, that's that one store you were telling me about. are they have right? Is they have Tesco's in England or something? I don't know. Let me know. All right, the next concept here is integrating emotional intelligence with masculinity. Tesco disco, he says. Tesco disco. Integrating emotional intelligence with masculinity. Emotional intelligence, or EQ, complements traditional masculine traits like strength and decisiveness. You hear it all the time, right? Like the women want a man that's emotionally intelligent, emotionally available. They don't want you to be emotionally available. What they mean by a guy who's emotionally intelligent and a guy who's emotionally available is a guy who can handle her shit. They don't care about your emotions. Okay, let's see. Tesco is Aldi Premium in the UK. Okay, I see. They don't care. They don't care about your emotions, right? They just want you to be able to effectively deal with their emotional bullshit. And a lot of women think that they're emotionally intelligent because they're emotional creatures, but they are not. Most women lack empathy. They lack emotional intelligence. They are just emotional shitstorms. And as a dominant masculine man, you need to not take them so seriously. That's basically what having emotional intelligence comes down to in a nutshell. True strength includes vulnerability and the ability to empathize, communicate, and connect authentically. AJ, fuck you. Okay. Clearly you're promoting vulnerability in your book, and I am not mad. I'm just disappointed. True strength includes vulnerability and the ability to empathize, communicate, and connect authentically. I'll tell you what, like, here's the thing about being vulnerable. People, non-females, tend to connect with you better if you share personal experiences. Okay. That's just how human nature is. If you have a struggle that you've been through and other people are going through that struggle or have been through it themselves, that actually builds rapport. Okay. It really does. Now, here's the thing when it comes to dealing with women. Women don't care about men's problems. They wait at the finish line. They fuck the winner, right? Shout out to Rich Cooper. Shout out to Rollo. I don't know who came up with that first, but Rich is the most famous for saying it. They wait at the finish line. They fuck the winners, right? So what does that mean? That means that you can share your personal struggles and experiences with your girl that will build rapport. The problem is that you have to tack on how you're either going to deal with that, how you dealt with it, whatever. You have to have a problem tacked on at the end of that for her not to use that against you, right? And she might still use that against you, but you have to be ready for that and be able to handle those types of shit tests as we do, right? With Agree and Amplify and Indifference and Muse Mastery and Luca and all the tools we have, fogging, negative assertion, like whatever, like all the tools we have in the space is how you handle that when she tries to use it against you. Okay. But inherently there's ways of being vulnerable that are more effective than others in relationship. Okay. I don't advocate like for being like a little whiny baby and always crying about your problems. Like there's really just no purpose in doing that with your woman anyway, but there are places to do that. And that, like, beer club's a good place for that. So that's what, that's sort of where it's an acceptable place to do that. Right. Embracing modern perspectives on masculinity positions men as role models for others. And I agree, right? If you have that dominant masculine presence, if you are the rock that people tend to look towards, that creates that you sort of create that role model view. Now, this is really helpful if you have kids. If you can develop that dominant masculine presence, which is what we're trying to do with this series, right? Develop more of a dominant masculine presence that gives a good model for your kids to look up to, right? Either if you have sons, be a man that your son strives to be like, right? Be that kind of guy, a guy worthy of your son being like you. Like, do you want your son to be like you? If the answer is no, you gotta fucking do some work on yourself, right? But if your son ended up like you and even does better than you, like, and you're proud of that, fuck yeah, like that's good, right? And then for your daughters, you want to be the kind of guy that your daughter sees as the ideal man, right? So as she goes out in the world and tries looking for a boyfriend or a husband, even though like we all want our daughters to be nuns, right? That's not going to happen. You want your daughter to pick a guy that is going to be a good dominant masculine influence in her life that'll allow her to relax into her feminine and be a good woman. You want that. And it's funny, like my perspective on all this has changed now. My daughter's older. My like when my daughter was like, little, I was like, oh no, she's gonna be a nun. Like she's marrying Jesus, even though I'm certainly not Catholic, but that's what's going to be for her. She's going to marry Jesus and go become a nun. Now that she's older and she's in college and she, even in high school, she had little boyfriends and stuff like that. Like my perspective on it's changed. I just want her to pick a good man, and so she's dated some scrubs, but the guy that she's with now is a go-getter. Like he's a solid dude. I like him. He could work on his dominant masculine presence a little bit, but his dad is a type 3 captain. So it's like, he's got a little work to do on himself. So I try to be more of a dominant masculine role model for him, whenever he's around, which is fun. This is fucking funny, guys. I'm being vulnerable with you guys here today. The boy comes over. This was when was this? God, was it Thanksgiving? I can't remember. The way we did this, like the last time he was over here for no, it wasn't Thanksgiving. When was this? I can't remember. But he comes to town and he had to stay with us. Maybe it was last Christmas. Last year at Christmas. Or 2023 Christmas. I can't remember. But anyway, he comes over and he stays out here for like a week. His parents paid for him to come out here for a week. Now he's at college. He goes to college out here where my daughter goes to college. So it's like he's out here all the time. But before that, his parents fly him out here. He stays at my house for a week. My daughter stays over at her mom's house for a week. And that's how we try to keep them separated, right? As much as possible. You know what I mean? But try to keep them separated. Anyway, the boys over here staying at my house. And the thing is, I have my dog. I have my cats. Sometimes Nurse Chick's dog's over here. And the way I am with animals is like I'm a total pushover. It's so like one doesn't just talk to an animal like it's not a baby. You know what I mean? Anyway, so he tells my daughter this. My daughter tells me this on the side. And I just started cracking up. He goes, your dad's really intimidating. Your dad's like, he walks around here. He's very dominant, very masculine guy. And he goes, but then I hear him talk to the cats. I just started laughing my ass off. I was like, yeah, I talk to those cats like they're babies. I totally do. Totally do. Anyway, they're baby. One does not talk to the baby cats like they're not babies. Y'all are going to call me a pussy in the fucking chat. That's whatever. Whatever. I talk to my cats how I talk to my cats. Okay, fuck off, guys. Anyway, so back to the topic. Practical applications, real life case studies. AJ threw in a bunch of fuck you, Kamal. He says Paul has a soft spot for pussy. That's funny. CW's calling me a wanker. All right. Fuck you guys. All right. So practical applications, real life case studies, examples of men applying emotional awareness techniques, mindful, assertive communication. So he talks about that. Get the book. Check out those case studies. But each case study highlights personalized strategies for overcoming emotional challenges. And then also the success stories show how emotional awareness enhances personal and professional relationships. Having case studies is helpful in these types of books, right? Because it not only shows you like what we're talking about, but it sort of gives you an example of how to apply it. That type of stuff is really helpful. In Get Her to Fuck You Again, I add some stories like that. Oh, Marty says cats are kryptonite. They are, man. Yeah. Fucking Tarl. We all have a thing we still need to work on. I'm never working on that, man. I fucking love those baby cats. They're sweet babies. All right. Emotional control and mastery. So this is the last point here. Emotional control builds upon awareness, emphasizing thoughtful management of emotions in real time, right? So once you become aware of this stuff, if you do the techniques that he talks about, journaling, really building up that awareness allows you to recognize it in the moment, right? If you could recognize this stuff in the moment, you'll handle it better going forward. All this stuff takes practice, like you're not going to be perfect. Your shit's going to happen. That's okay. Don't beat yourself up over it. Like the important thing is to recognize it and then have a plan for doing better going forward. That's really all it is, right? Like it's all about progress rather than expecting perfection, right? Just like 1% better every single day. It's a good way to live your life. Some of the strategies include mindfulness, presence, and visualization to navigate high pressure situations. Like I said before, like that technique where you're imagining the picture and coming out of the picture and doing that dissociation, third party observer type stuff. That stuff's very helpful. It's very helpful for this type of thing. And then he adds that emotional mastery enables resilience, composure, and confidence in handling life's challenges. And life's going to have challenges, man. Life's never going to be perfect. There's going to be ebbs and flows. It's if you want to get esoteric with it, because I did promise the guys that Woo Wednesday is going away, but I'm going to incorporate it into frame, right? If you read the Kybalion, which is more of a Hermetic philosophy, spiritual type book, there's this concept of the law of rhythm, right? And the law of rhythm says there's going to be ebbs and flows in life, right? There's going to be highs and lows. But the law of neutralization allows you to rise above it. And how do you apply the law of neutralization? By developing some awareness and emotional durability, right? It's not magic. It's not fucking woo-woo in the sky. It's about managing what's going on up here, right? All right, guys, that's all I have for this episode. So that was chapter 3 in psychology, emotion. Let me drop a link to that here in the chat. I hope as we're going through these books that you guys are, at least if you're not picking them up on Amazon, you're at least, taking notes and applying this stuff. But I do encourage you guys to get these books. And then the essential skills of a masculine presence series. There's 3 books out. Thor actually finished a 4th book, which now that I'm done editing my book, my latest book, Get Her to Fuck You Again, I'm going to be able to start formatting it for Thor. Thor asked me to help him work on the formatting and write a foreword for his book, and which is all about being your own hero. Right? Being your own hero in life. And so I'm going to try to start working on that Sunday, getting that formatted and getting that ready for publishing so that we can get that out to the people. And then that's going to be the 4th book. But get AJ's book here. Drop a link to that in the chat. And you can just do a search on Amazon for essential skills of a masculine presence. You'll find all the books that are currently out. But AJ's book is very good on emotion. That was chapter 3. So definitely get that. All right. That's all we got for this episode, guys. Tune in to Rule 0 tomorrow. Have we figured out who the fuck's hosting? I think. Let's see here. It looks like Nuke is going to host. Thank God. Fucking love Nuke. I'm glad that he's sticking around. And then Dragon Ship tomorrow. Tarl, who's in the chat right now, Viking Paradigm. Tarl here. Guys, follow his channel because he's hosting Dragon Ship tomorrow. What's the topic? It's New Year's resolutions. It's sticking with New Year's resolutions. That's what the topic is. That's right. There's a reason why I ask you guys in the chat on Thursday nights, Tarl, like, because every Thursday I reach out to the Dragon Ship guys and I reach out to the Rule 0 guys. I'm like, what the fucking topic is? It's not because I'm trying to micromanage the group. It's because I'm writing my show notes and I want to be able to promote it. Okay. And then tune into the podcast on Monday. We're going to be talking about the type 2 dysfunctional captain dynamic that husbands find themselves in, right? So this is called the neurotic captain and his complaining passenger. Jack 10 of Hearts came up with that in the old Red Pill archives, but Ryan incorporated that in Dread. And I just finished my second pass of Dread yesterday. And so, which is really, really phenomenal book. Like, get my book, get Her to Fuck You Again, and get Ryan's book on Dread. And those two books will really improve your fucking marriage situation. Okay. Get both those books. But Ryan talks about the 3 dysfunctional captains that men tend to fall into when they're in a dead bedroom situation. So we're going to talk about the type 2 captain. And usually the big thing about the type 2 captain, what Jack 10 of Hearts says is like your Bible in fixing that dynamic is better assertive communication and being more decisive, right? And so I incorporate all that shit and Get Her to Fuck You Again, like how to be more assertive in your communication, how to speak effectively. I have a whole chapter on communication techniques that work, right? And that's all about speaking from a position of authority. So get my book on that, and then we'll go over that on Monday. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and every Friday is Frame Friday. And thanks for everyone that sounded off in the chat today. I appreciate you. Thanks for the super chats, guys. That supports the show probably more than anything else. Follow me on social media. The links are in the description. Get on the email list.comeonmanpod.com. Get my ebook, She's Made You Weak. It's all about the betatization process. And then follow that up by getting the new book, Get Her to Fuck You Again, at books.comeonmanpod.com. That'll take you to my authors page, which you can get all 3 of my books there. But Get Her to Fuck You Again explains the betatization process and then also really goes into depth on how to reverse it, right? So get that, especially if your marriage is in the toilet right now. Guys, get Beer Club. We talked about that today. And then guys, once you've read my new book and you need help applying the principles, like that's cool. Like I will walk you through this. We will link arms. We'll go hand in hand into your marriage. It will like a fucking shield wall. And we are going to fix this shit together. But first, book a free call with me by going to call.fixdeadbedrooms.com. That's all we got. We will see you guys tomorrow on Rule 0.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. Now, go out and get it.